Welcome friends for the Unit 1 Part 1 sessions. Considering the syllabus of Unit 1, we have broken down Unit 1 into two parts, Part 1 and Part 2. In Part 1, we'll review all the commands, and in Part 2, we'll go forward and learn shell scripting. However, considering the huge set of commands and all the options in that, we also have to make multiple copies of this video. So Unit 1, Part 1 will also be classified into or segregated into multiple small parts. Let's get it started. So here we'll try to take a look into what is a Linux utility. In that we'll see file handling, process, disk, networking, some text processing utilities, backup utilities. We'll also go forward and see filters specifically. We'll also go forward and see two text processing utilities very specifically as SED and AWK. And we'll try to go into very much detail for SED and AWK scripts. Now, let's get started with Linux utilities. To be specific, the word utility is not new to us. We know what is an utility is. Utility is something which is additional, which is extra, and help you to perform one specific task. To break it down to a very simple statement, whenever I connect my mobile phone, my cell phone, to my system, to my computer, it actually loads a few specific set of drivers. So utilities are nothing but the driver applications which can be pre-installed in your operating system, or sometimes you need to install it separately to get it connected working with an external hardware. Now utility programs are also can be antivirus software, backup software, disk tools, or something like that. Utilities also can be executed like a command, which can be inbuilt as well. So here in this example, we can see that to get this printer and this cell phone connected with the PC, and if it's a Nokia cell phone or if it's a HP printer, we respectively need Nokia PC suite and HP support drivers to get these two things working. So operating system directly cannot work with this hardware. It needs a third-party software tools, which is called utility. The very popular utilities, which are basically for text processing, are called grep and SED. We'll take a look to those in very short details in a very short while. Now, get starting with the very first one. We'll be having it called file handling utilities. So what basically is a file handling utility? There are some Linux commands which will help us to create, delete, rename, move, copy, edit, and perform some other specific task on Linux files. Those are called utilities. Now, at this particular point of time, let us try to understand that a file is nothing but a collection of interrelated files which is given a name and in the memory block, which can be stored in a continuous or in a contiguous memory locations. In Linux, almost everything is treated as a file. Let it be a directory or a device or a hardware like a keyboard or a monitor screen. Everything is treated as a file. So if I wanted to change my monitor resolutions, I can definitely do it with the help of a GUI. But if I'm really learning Linux, I'll be doing it with the help of a command by editing some specific files. We'll see that in very much detail. Moreover, the best advantageous part of having an utility is if the utility is inbuilt, there is no problem. But if at all the utility is an external utility which you have to download and install, in both the cases, you can actually go forward and execute those with the help of a command from the command prompt. Fine. To make a note over here, in Linux, we don't call it a command prompt, we call it a shell. There are different types of shells available, which we'll see in detail in the second part, where we go forward and start with the shell programming. These different shells do have a different name, and they are for different purposes. However, there are a few common shells available which can go forward and perform all the tasks at the same point of time. Right. Now, there are a few very popular common utilities which are popular as well as part of our syllabus. We'll try to go forward and see those one after another. And there are a total of 18 which are listed, actually 16 plus 2 which are out of the syllabus, but we would like to discuss that because without that, working on Linux can be little difficult, little hard. So let us go forward and start exploring it one after another. We'll see all of this 18 one after another. Let's see the first one. Now, the first command or the utility comes under file handling, is called mktir. The full form for that goes as the name suggests, make directory, and is used to create one or more directories. Now here onwards, I would go forward and execute the commands one after another in front of you, so that you can go and realize how does those things works exactly. Now this is a environment what I'm using right now. It's a Mac PC, and I can as well go forward and execute those commands. But to give you a real look and feel of that, I would like to go forward and use it on a real Linux machine, which is running a CentOS. I'll not be logging in directly onto the system, or rather I'll be using a tool, third-party tool, to get it connected. In your sessions, in your classrooms, you'll be using almost the same kind of a tool, and that tool will be known as putty. But here I do have a separate tool which almost alike to that. So what I have to do over here is, whenever I'm starting my session or a new connection to my system, I'll go forward and use up a name over here, which will show the connection name, nothing else. Then if I wanted to add that one as a part of any groups, I can as well do that. Then for the connections, I'll be selecting either SSH or Telnet. For your sessions, you can possibly go forward and use Telnet, but I'll be using SSH because this tool gives me a support to directly get connected to the SSH shell. Then I have to go forward and write down my host name, or I can go forward and write down the IP address as well. I can go forward and write down the port number. I have to go forward and write down the user ID and the password, and that is pretty much all about it. And then I'll click on the connect. For the putty, you will be getting a same kind of UI, and the parameters what it will be asking for are almost the same. Now I'm getting a connection to my PC, which is in my local network. Sometimes it takes a little while to get connected, but however, will be very much soon in that. Right, so we have just got connected to my system, to my Linux server. And here I can see that my system name is showing over here, is showing that Meladri-office is my host name. And then by which user I have logged in is nothing but the name shown over here, it's the root. In Linux, we don't have anything called administrator. The user who can perform each and everything is called a root. Whenever we discuss the usability and the user profiles and everything, or the file permissions, we'll be also taking a look into this particular option. So now let's get it started, and let's start with finding out the very first command. If I wanted to know what is the user I have logged in with, I'll be executing a command called who am I. Make sure there is no space in between the phrases or the words in a Linux. So make sure that you are not making a mistake on that. Also, there is one more very important command which will show me pwd, which shows present working directory. that will show me if at all right now if I create a file or a folder or something, in which location that will be created. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go forward and create a new directory first of all. So what I'll do, I'll go forward and write mktir, and I'll give a name to that as called folder 1, right? So once the folder 1 got created, I'll hit my enter, and if I wanted to check does that really got created or not, and so that I'll be executing a command called ls, which will list the files and folders in my present working directory. So I can see that yes, folder 1 got created, and the moment I hit ls, Linux is very intelligent and successfully it will be listing down the directories and the files, the folders and the files in different colors. However, there are different file categories also available, different types of files. Those files also will be having a separate color based on the permissions what you have on those files. We'll see to that when we go for the shell scripting. Now, once this is done, I do have few more other options as well to get it created. The first option, I can go forward and use it, mkdir -v, and then I write down a different folder name. I'll call it a folder 2. Now, as you notice that last time when I executed this command, I didn't get a response from the system. Now, if I hit enter, let's see what happens. So now as I hit enter, I'll be getting options over here saying that mkdir : created directory folder 2. So it's now started giving me a response. It's called a verb -v, stands for verbose, where it will go forward and give you the outcome of the command in a single line status message, right? So that's the meaning of it. There are few more interesting options as well possible. Say for example, I would like to create a folder called folder 3 inside a folder called folder. Now, if at all the folder is not available, folder 4 may or may not get created. Now, if I want, I'll be executing a single command, and for that, if at all folder is not available, my system will go forward and create that. And if at all it's available, there will not be any action taken on that, just the new folder will be created inside that. Now to do that, I'll be using one more option over here, which is called -p, which stands for parent. So if the parent folder is not available, I can actually go forward and create your option. Okay, so here let me write down folder / folder 4, and I'll hit enter over here. Now, if I wanted to figure out the folder got created or not, I'll go forward and again say ls, and yes, I'll see that the new folder got created over here. And inside that, if I try going inside that, where I will be having those commands in a little while, if you can go inside this particular folder called say cd folder, change directory folder, and again if I go forward and perform a listing options, I'll be finding yes, the folder got created over here, right? So the command change directory, I'll be addressing it separately once again. So right now, just to continue with the demonstration, it's called change directory. Now if I wanted to come out of that, I'll go forward and say cd space .. because this is the very first set where I'll be using a cdn space. Otherwise there is no as such space in between the commands, right? Okay. Now if at all I go forward and try executing another command saying mkdir space -p, and I write folder 1, inside that I write down folder 5, what will happen? Here, as I'm using option P, so mkdir will try to create the folder 1, but as we already know, the folder 1 is already exists, so it will just be going inside folder 1 and will be creating the new folder 5. Now, if I wanted to use multiple switches at the same point of time, multiple options. So say for example, I'll be using the verbose and the parents at the same point of time. I can simply go forward and write down them one after another. The moment I go forward and hit enter, I'll be saying create a directory, folder 1, folder 5. Now if I go forward and say list, I'll say C folder 1. Now if I go inside folder 1, I'll also try to see folder 5 got created as expected. Right? So there are multiple options of that. Once we get little accomplished with that, slowly we'll introduce more options for mkdir as well. Well, now again, if I wanted to come out of all this, I'll go forward and say cd space dot dot, which will directly land me up into the out option. And now once it's all done, if I wanted to clear up the screen, I'll execute a command called clear. Right. So this is pretty much all about mkdir. Now, apart from mkdir, we do have other set of commands as well. Let's take a look into the very second command, which is called cd. Now, just now we have seen a demonstration of cd and cd space dot dot. This is a command which is used to change the directory. The syntax goes as cd space name of the folder to which directly I wanted to go into. And if I wanted to go from one folder to another specific folder, I can also go forward and use the command cd. So let's see how does that command actually works for. Now, if I wanted to go inside my folder, and inside that I have another folder called folder 4. Ideally, it's expected that I'll go to the parent folder first and then I'll go inside the child folder. But however, with the power of cd change directory, I can navigate from one location directly inside to the child location. Now, if I wanted to verify that I am already in the child location or not, I'll go forward and execute a command called present working directory, and I'll be seeing that yes, I am inside folder 4. Now, also, if I from this folder 4, if I wanted to go to another subfolder which has got a different parent folder, then let's see how I have to proceed for. Now, inside that, I'll be writing down folder 1, and inside folder 1, I'll be going to another specific folder. Let me traverse to a different location. So I'll be going to folder 1, and inside that, if I do have another folder called folder 5 or something, I'll try to navigate to that. So, okay, this is there is no folder 1 as such. What I'll basically go forward and do, I'll take out the slash from here. Okay, let me verify the locations over here. Okay, so let me go inside folder 1, and inside folder 1, yes, I have got folder 5. Now from here, if I try to jump to folder 2 or folder folder, can I basically do that? So in order to do that, I'll go forward and say try to use some special characters, which is not really supported over here. Anyways, that's pretty much of it. I can directly navigate to the parent folder or to the child folder. However, there are some other options, pretty much options as well, which will be also covered in the upcoming sessions. Apart from cd, we do have next option, which is called ls. ls or the list is a very powerful command or a very powerful utility. Along with this, you can go forward and use multiple options as well. So ls is nothing but a command which will help you to list out your directories and the files, whatever you have under your current or present working directory. But if you wanted to list something which is not under your present working directory, also we have an option for that. We'll review that one in a while. Now here we do have few options, which is called -l or -t or -a or -d, -i, LTR or L capital S R and so on. We'll try to understand what are the uses of those. Now, as I don't have much files under my present working directory now, so what I'll do, I'll try to go to a specific location where I do have some files. So I'll try to go inside OPT, And let me see. No, I don't have anything in OPT as well. So let's see what else we do have over here. So I can go to lib. I'm sure I'll be getting pretty many files. Many files inside there. Yes, of course. I do have many files inside this. Now, to try out the very first option, if I have a long list needed, I can go forward and say ls. So it will be printing out, listing out all my files and folders, which I have under my present working directory. Now, if I want little more options, little more details about this files and folders, so I'll go forward and use a switch called ls-l. The moment I hit ls-l, we can go forward and see that there are multiple options getting printed along with that. So what are the options we have over here? The moment we go forward and hit this option, let's see. The first, I'll be getting a first character either as a D or as a hyphen or as a L. If I get D, I'll be understanding that current list, what I'm seeing for the specific entry here is nothing but a directory. If I get a dash, I'll understand that that's a file. Or if specifically I get a L, I'll understand it's nothing but a link or shortcut, what you call in Windows operating systems. Second option, what I'll be having over here is the read-write permissions. I have to read this in a multiple of 3. So the first 3, and then the next 3, and then the next 3. So what I basically have to read over here is the first set of permissions belongs to the user or the owner. The next set of permission belongs to the group to which the creator or the owner of the file belongs to. And the last 3 option goes for the anybody else who is not the owner or also not a part of the owner group. Now we'll understand what does that read, write, and execute means in detail, and how do you change that in a session where we talk about the file, specifically the file permission management. Well, followed by I'll have a username which is called root, then followed by another option to which the user group belongs to. So there's the username, the owner name basically, and then the name of the owner group, and then followed by the memory size, and then followed by the last created time or last modification time, and then at the last I'll be getting the name of the file. So what I can basically go forward and do right now is I can go forward and try out another command which is called ls-t, which will list in the order of last modification times. So what I'll be getting over here is the last modified one will be coming on the first, right? Okay, then moreover, we have another command over here which is called ls-d. The option D also helps me to list directory files instead of it contents. So what I'll go forward and do, I'll hit enter, and I'll see that there is no such directories available which has got multiple content inside that. Okay, then followed by I have one more option over here which is called ls-i, which will be going forward and helping me to identify the inode number. So what is an inode? Inode number is nothing but a specific integer number given to each and every file which is identified as a file in Linux environment, so that you can perform multiple operations by uniquely identifying those files with the help of the inode number. So I'll go forward and say that, and we can see that all these options, all the files and folders are right now coming with a specific integer number which is called a inode number. May not be in a proper sequence. It majorly depends on the memory allocation, how it has got created. Well, now there are other options as well. If I wanted to list up the files and order them with the help of the creation date or something, or the last modified date or something, I'll go forward and use a command called ls space hyphen itr, And here also I'll be getting the options where it'll be listing obviously the inode and the time as well. And then it will be in a ascending order sorted options. If I wanted to do the same thing with the help of a size, I can as well go forward and say ls-size. So you can see that it's actually getting listed based on the sorted options with the sizes. And if I wanted to sort that, I'll go forward and add a option R to it. Right. So it comes as well in that. And also I can add the inode options along with that. So I'll be getting now pretty much all the options over here. Is the files ordered by the file size with the inode numbers and everything. Right. So this is pretty much all about the ls commands. We can go forward and see the other commands as well. The next command is called cat command. This command performs many tasks at the same point, multiple point of time. It can go forward and create a new file. It can help you to visualize a file. It also helps you to merge two files, concatenate multiple files or something. So we'll try to see what are the options we can do along with that. So let's see. First of all, I'll come down to some of my specific folders over here. So from here, I'll just go forward to my option folder. And inside that, I have a folder already created. So I'll start creating my files now. So what I'll do, I'll go forward and write down cat, and I'll write down operator, which is a input redirect operator, which will redirect all my inputs from the keyboard inside to the file. So what I have to do for that? I have to go forward and write down a file name. I'm creating a text file, so I'll be writing file1.txt. The moment I hit the enter button, you'll see that the cursor will pause and it will help us to enter some kind of a text. So I'll go forward and write hello world. The moment I hit enter, it will go to the next line. So I'll be also writing, this is our first Linux file. Once I hit enter once again, I'll be coming to the next line. If I keep on hitting the enter key, I'll go to the next lines, but the option will not terminate over here. To terminate this option, what I have to do, I have to go forward and write down Control Z. Repeating once again, I have to go forward and press Control Z at the same point of time, and that will be terminating my file. Now, without using the redirection operator, if I go forward and try to list up my file, I'll be writing simply cat, the command, and then the file name, and it will be coming forward and listing out the options for me. I can also go forward and use other options as well with cat. So say for example, I wanted to see this particular file with the help of the line numbers. So I'll go forward and say enter, and I can see that all the 4 lines got created. Those coming up are coming up with some specific line numbers as well. Now, as we can see that there are 2 empty lines or break lines available, which does not really contain any of the options. Now, if I wanted to go forward and use another option called B, let's see what happens. So this will temporarily eliminate the blank lines or the line breaks what we have. However, this will not have any permanent effect on the file. If I once again go forward and say cat and the file name, I'll be able to get all the empty lines as well. But the option B omits the line numbers for the blank space in the output files. Right? So that's the option. There is one more option available, which is called A, the small a or the capital A. So either of the way, I'll be using the capital A over here. And this will be showing me wherever I have kept a enter, right? It will show me all the line breaks, and the line breaks will be denoted with a $sign. So if I'm really crucial really interested to know where the line breaks or where the enter key was being pressed, so I'll go forward and use the option cat-A. So those are the basic options what we have over here along with cat. The very next commands, it's called the touch and the set time. We'll not be really going into the demonstration for that because that's not really necessary. A touch can also go forward and change some parameters along with the file which are associated with the file. Say for example, the access time or the creation time or the modification time, some kind of specific options on that. Right? So we'll not be going into touch and set time these options in hands-on because it's not really important at right now. Okay. Now another command over here, what we have called as CP or the copy. The copy commands copy files from one location to another location as obvious. If the destination is an existing file, then the file obviously will be overridden. If the destination is an existing directory, the file is copied inside the directory and the directory will not be overwritten at all. So let's see how can we go forward and perform those options. So right now I'm inside my folder, and if I go forward and now list out my options, I'll see that I have got one file and one folder. Now what I would like to do is I would like to go forward and copy this complete set of contents inside another folder. Say for example my folder 1. So what I have to do for that is actually I have to go forward and write down copy, and if I wanted to copy a specific file, I'll write down the name of the file, and if at all I would like to put that particular file inside another folder called folder 1, and then I'll go forward and put a slash once again here, and I'll hit enter. Just a quick notation options here. I'll go forward and say start.start. Well, let's get it started. Let us try to see the CP command once again. So as we all remember, we had a folder called folder, and inside that I have got a file as well. The name of the file was file 1. Now I would like to copy that particular file 1 from folder to folder 1. So let's see, to do that what I have to do. So I'll go forward and write down my option called folder, and inside that I'll have a file called file 1. I'd like to get that option copied to my folder 1 and inside folder 1. Now to denote inside folder 1, I have to go forward and say slash, right? So that the data goes inside that. Now the moment I hit enter, I have not mentioned any verbose option for that, so I'll not be getting any output here. To check out the output, I have to go inside the folder 1. The moment I go inside folder 1 and try to list up the contents, I can see that yes, my file 1 is got created inside folder 1. Now, instead of copying a single file, I can also choose to copy multiple files and folders at the same point of time. Now, in this folder 1, I have got a file called file 1 and a folder called folder 5. If I like to copy those things at the same point of time by using a single command into folder 2, let's see what is the command I have to execute. So I'll be mentioning folder 1, and then I'll write down star.star, which means everything, and then inside my folder 2, I'll also write down start.star. The moment I hit enter, let me go forward and verify what happens inside that. So I'll go inside folder 2, and the moment I come forward and try to list it out, I'll see that by the name of start.start it got copied. So let me come back and redo it once again. So I'll say cd folder, and I'll say folder 2 slash, and I'll hit enter. The moment I hit enter, I'll go inside folder 2, and the moment I hit ls, I can see that yes, my file 1 got copied over here. Now I have mentioned start.star, so only the content with the existing extension is getting copied actually. I can see multiple other options as well. Now if I really wanted to do it once again, where I would like to copy once again everything from folder 1 to folder 2 with all the contents, if at all the content is not available, let it get copied, and if the content is available, let it get overwritten. So what I'll be doing in order to do that, I'll be writing copy folder 1, and I'll put a slash over here, and I'll go forward and write down folder 2 slash. Now if I would like to forcefully do that rewriting overwriting options, I have to add one option called -f. The moment I hit enter, they are saying that yes, folder 1 is already available over here, and it's just got copied into folder 2, the contents of folder 1. I can as well go forward and cross check that one. Well, so that's it guys, pretty much for the first file handling sessions. In the next sessions, we'll be reviewing the rest of the commands.